got him so far that he would, if he fell asleep, he'd be in his own little room next to us, right next to us. And then one night at 2 o'clock in the morning, I had a terrible nightmare that I was being strangled. And we had a digital clock on our bed, and it said 2 o'clock. And I sat up in bed, and I was perspiring, and it was very realistic. It was horrible, like somebody is killing you. And the next minute, this little child screams like you cannot believe. And we both jumped out of bed, ran, picked him up, and he gets fever cramps. And he virtually stops breathing. So we're stressed like crazy. We rush him off to hospital, and they battled to save him. And eventually he got such high fevers, they put him into sort of a refrigerated cot with cold air blowing upon him, and they put the intravenous fluids into him, and then he'd recover. And he'd come back home 2 or 3 weeks later, exactly 2 o'clock at night, same dream. And then he would scream. And the same drama all over again. Back to hospital, fighting for his life. It was a total nightmare. And one after the other.
It happened frequently.
Yes. How many
For
times?
how
I
long?
don't know.
Many times.
Many times. His folder must have been like this at the hospital. Now, you know what? Kids get sick. Kids get fevers. But exactly 2 o'clock at night, repetitively, over and over and over again, if it happens once, twice, 3 times, 5 times, 10 times, then it's no longer chance.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's something else. And every time it's a life and death struggle. We were total wrecks. We were totally finished. And I still remember I was marking scripts. It had just happened again, and he was in hospital. And we took turns sitting in hospital through the night. And I was sitting there, and I was petrified of 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock was a no-no for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was marking scripts from the medical students in the middle of the night. These poor kids, I don't know whether I was compos mentis, but I was marking them. And 2 o'clock was coming, and I'm sitting in the hospital opposite this little cot with this little kid in it. And it's 2 o'clock, and I'm marking. And when the clock struck 2 o'clock, the child started screaming in that bed and getting like fever cramps. And I ran to fetch the medical staff. And now we're trying to stabilize him and to get more intravenous fluid into him. But he's in such cramps. At that stage, they couldn't find the veins in the arms anymore, so they put the intravenous into a vein on the head. And somehow he ripped it, and he ripped it out sideways. Mm-hmm. Now, a head wound bleeds terribly. It made it even worse. There was blood all over. I was splattered with blood, and they're trying to do this. And then the horrible 2 o'clock goes past, and he relaxes again, and they get it all together again. But that night I decided, I need help. This is beyond natural. And I remembered what happened in our house.